I have never seen a group of students at this age so engaged for so long in one spot ever, said one teacher, describing our next guest. Talking to Mona Williams, storyteller on Bookmarks today. She's choosing the music and telling us about a few of her favourite things. And we're getting a bit of her life story as well. So you got the scholarship to Stanford, incredible work based on incredible hard work. And you married someone from New Zealand and came to Aotearoa in 1971. Mona, what did you make of the place?
Well, I was excited. There were Americans telling me this from San Francisco. Yeah. And they said, look, it's the most gorgeous little place. Yeah. Honestly, it's a gem.
And it seems to me, looking through your choices, that you've done your best to proactively embrace your new country, your new home country, including Catherine Mansfield. Or had you discovered her before you got to New Zealand?
No, I didn't know anything about New Zealand literature. But when I came, I met Joy Cowley, and she lived in Kandala, a little way from me.
Yeah.
And I started reading her work. And then my husband, he's now my ex-husband, he and Witi Ihimaira were friends. And so there was this meeting of so many people who were writing. It's the thing that kept me sane. There was so much to read. It was such a literary world. And I remember when I went to teach at even intermediate school, I asked that Hone Tufare come to speak to my children because two of his poems were in the school journals. One was Rain and the other one was No Ordinary Sun. And he came and spoke to my children. They were just starstruck, thunderstruck. And so I fell in love with the literature. I met Alan Kernow, and he told me the story of his writing. I couldn't believe that ordinary children in schools would have such a high standard of literature given to them freely.
You mentioned the school journal, and that was a bit of a breakthrough moment for you when you submitted to that publication.
Yes, I would submit, but I was reading, and the people who were reading were talking about they're coming here on ships or breaking in the land, or somebody was in the wars, the 1860 wars, land wars, or the 1880 wars, and when great-grandpa went to such and bringing out the timber with the bullocks. And my whole understanding of New Zealand, I think the foundations for that were laid by reading school journals. It was such a delightful way to merge with the land and the people. And it isn't that I so much embraced New Zealand as New Zealand embraced me. Both the Maori community, some friends from Gisborne, and the Pākehā community around me in Wellington. Yes, and you know, Tessa Duda, or different people just saying, Mona, could I show you this? Could I introduce you to that? And your museums that were free. There were two here. And the libraries with so many books. What a place, to meet new and established New Zealanders.
You developed an interest in, of all things, New Zealand war graves.
Well, it struck me when I first came I was coming down to Wellington. I said, could we go by land? And we had to go through all these little towns. There wasn't the superhighway that cut across or left them behind. So you'd go to Hamilton and Cambridge. And as you went through all these tiny towns, there was a cenotaph right there in the middle. And I thought, this must be a land of warriors. Every single little town had its wonderful little cenotaph. And yet, there weren't the graves. And I had to learn that although we have magnificent fighters, they fell overseas. And so if you want to understand much about New Zealand, which I didn't know it then, but Michael King, Dr. Michael King, the historian, I worked on one of the series he was doing called Tangata Whenua, and he said New Zealand was shaped by wars. So I said, well, where are the graves? And if we were shaped by the wars for the land in 1860 and 1880, could I go and see those graves And if we were shaped by other wars, I may not go to see Crimea or the Boer Wars, but I wanted to see the First World War graves and the Second World War graves. And the last thing I did coming home in 2012 from teaching overseas was to go to El Alamein and Mirza Matruh in Egypt before I came home. And I went to Gallipoli, of course.
Does it make a difference to your understanding of New Zealand?
Absolutely.
I've been speaking to Mona Williams, professional storyteller, author and teacher. She delivered the 2023 Pānui for RNZ. Really enjoyed spending some time with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse, and thank you, New Zealand, and thank you to this land that has given me citizenship. I love you, New Zealand. Thank you.